You think it's discipline, but it's slowly destroying you. Yeah, I said it. That thing you're so proud of. Your self-control, your routines, your grind. It might actually be the reason you're stuck. You call it discipline, but what if it's really fear? Fear disguised as order. Fear hiding behind productivity. Sounds crazy, right? But stay with me, because what I'm about to tell you might completely change the way you see discipline. We live in a world that worships discipline. Everyone's preaching it. Wake up at 5 a.m., cold showers, work 12 hours a day, no breaks, no distractions, no excuses. And don't get me wrong, discipline is powerful. It builds habits, keeps you consistent, helps you grow. But here's the thing. Not everything that looks like discipline is actually good for you. Sometimes what you call discipline is actually avoidance. You're not building your life, you're hiding from it. You're working hard, yes, but why are you working so hard? Because you love what you do? Or because you're terrified of slowing down and facing yourself? That's the real question. Let's break it down. Point 1. Discipline turns toxic when it's built on fear, not purpose. Think about it. You wake up early, you hit the gym, you study, you grind. But deep down, there's this panic. If I stop, I'll fall behind. If I rest, I'll lose everything. If I don't push myself, I'll be nothing. That's not discipline. That's fear wearing a mask. True discipline comes from love. Love for your craft, your goals, your growth. Toxic discipline comes from fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of not being enough. If you're doing something just to prove you're worthy, you'll never feel like you are. You'll keep pushing the line. No matter how far you go, it'll never feel like enough. And that's how burnout happens. That's how you end up exhausted, numb, and disconnected, but still forcing yourself to stay disciplined. So ask yourself, am I doing this out of love or out of fear? Point 2. You've mistaken control for progress. You've built a life that's so structured, so tightly controlled, that you've forgotten what freedom feels like. You've got routines for everything. When you eat, when you sleep, when you think. But here's the truth. Discipline without flexibility turns you into a robot. You're not supposed to control every moment of your life. You're supposed to live it. Example. Imagine a guy who tracks every calorie, every rep, every minute of sleep. On paper, he's winning, but in reality, he's miserable. He can't go out with friends without feeling guilty. He can't relax without feeling like he's wasting time. He's not free. He's a prisoner of his own rules. Discipline should serve your life, not strangle it. It's meant to give you structure, not strip away your humanity. If your so-called discipline makes you anxious, tense, or afraid to take a day off, it's not discipline anymore. It's obsession. Point 3. You confuse pain with progress. Somewhere along the way, you started believing that if it doesn't hurt, it doesn't count. You chase struggle like it's a badge of honor. If it's easy, you think it's not worth it. That's a dangerous mindset. Discipline isn't supposed to destroy you. It's supposed to build you. Yes, growth involves discomfort, but constant pain isn't growth. It's self-punishment. You're not meant to grind until you break. You're meant to grow until you thrive. You can't become your best self by constantly fighting yourself. Think of a tree. It grows strong not by forcing itself, but by aligning with its environment. Sunlight, water, patience. Nature doesn't rush, yet everything gets done. So if you're always fighting, forcing, and punishing yourself, maybe it's not discipline that's driving you. Maybe it's the belief that you're only valuable when you suffer. That's not strength. That's self-rejection. Point 4. You've forgotten how to rest. Rest used to be simple. Now it feels like guilt. You can't take a break without feeling lazy. You can't sit still without checking your phone, your schedule, your next goal. You say you're being productive, but what you're really doing is avoiding silence. Avoiding stillness. Because stillness makes you feel lost. But listen, rest isn't the enemy of discipline. It's the foundation of it. Without rest, your discipline becomes directionless. You can't think clearly. You can't create. You can't grow. Discipline without rest is like driving a car with no brakes. Sure, you'll move fast for a while, until you crash. If you never let yourself pause, reflect, and breathe, your so-called discipline will end up consuming you. Rest isn't weakness. It's wisdom. So here's the truth. What you think is discipline might actually be fear, control, obsession, and self-punishment. You think you're being strong, but you're just running away. Real strength isn't about how much you can push. It's about knowing when to push and when to let go. Real discipline doesn't come from self-hate. It comes from self-respect. It's not about proving your worth. It's about protecting your peace. When you act from love for yourself, your mission, your life, your discipline becomes lighter.
It becomes sustainable.
You stop burning out. You start growing. Because real discipline isn't a cage. It's a compass, so here's your takeaway. If your discipline drains you instead of fuels you, it's time to question it. If your routine feels more like a punishment than a path, it's time to change it. You're not meant to live in constant tension. You're meant to evolve, and evolution doesn't come from fear. It comes from awareness, balance, and self-respect. You don't need to be harder on yourself. You need to be truer to yourself. So pause, reflect, adjust. And remember, discipline is a tool, not an identity. Now, if this hit home, don't just move on to the next video. Sit with it. Ask yourself where in your life you've mistaken fear for discipline. And when you figure that out, do something about it. If this message helped you see things differently, drop a comment below. I want to hear your thoughts. Hit that like button if this made you pause for a second. And if you're serious about growing the right way, make sure you subscribe for more. Because the goal isn't to be more disciplined, it's to be more alive.